All right, so Bob and I are back doing some sports stuff. We got two newbies with us. So
welcome to the Steve Jeltz Appreciation Society.
Yeah, so we have a side sports podcast that we've done kind of because like the kind of just preface this. Me, Bob, and Rich have been doing potting for several years. Our buddy Rich is not the sports guy. Bob and I just kind of went on our own and do an occasional sports one. So we invited our friends Chris and Brian to join us, talk some football. So what's up, guys?
How much I like being a newbie. I'm never the newbie anymore. I'm always feel like the oldie.
Well, thanks for having me. Never done a podcast before. I do like to talk sports, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're not professional. We just have fun. We like to get into good conversations, but we do like to try to have an idea getting into it because makes for a good conversation. But talking fantasy football 2025, and the four of us have played a lot of fantasy football over the years. I've been in Chris's league for a long time. Bob and I have been in leagues together for many, many years. And Brian, I finally was able to be lucky enough to get in your league, man.
That's why me and Chris were talking about. We're like, hey, he's joining. He just wanted us to join so he knew what we were going to be picking, so he could like undercut us on the turn.
This is exactly what it's for.
Yeah, know what's happening.
He's writing down all our boobs. He's going to be like, whoa.
Oh yeah, no, and the best part is we're recording it, so I can go back and really study it too.
Yeah, exactly. I want a replay of the boobs and butts.
So, but no, I don't know who wants to get us started. Like, I don't care. We'll do a round robin because I'm sure here's my thing. I'm sure that we'll have somebody that one of us thinks is a boom, that another person is going to think is a bust, or they just opens up a conversation.
Start with QBs first, or RBs, or what do you want to like? You want to start with QBs and say who's your boom, Robert? Who's your boom QB?
Oh, let's go. I'm gonna go Geno Smith.
Geno.
Ooh.
I think with the offensive weaponry that they're gonna that they have out in Las Vegas, I got to use saying that out in Las Vegas now, and under Chip Kelly offense, that's if it runs the way it did in Philly, the offense wasn't a problem. It was Chip himself and his as a GM that tore Philly apart. But I'm excited to see what Geno does under his offense.
That's fair. Anyone else got any thoughts on Geno or any other boom QBs they want to dive into?
I like the Geno Smith pick a lot. I mean, I didn't write him down. Tom didn't give me a whole lot of guidance. It was just like, write down like 10 or so booms, 10 or so busts. So I only wrote down one quarterback. I'll tell you in a sec. But I like the Geno Smith pick. I too believe he's going to have a solid year. Better offense around him, hopefully. I do think they're going to run the ball a whole lot. So I've got some Raiders running backs to talk about later. But for my quarterback, I wrote down Cam Ward. And the way I looked at it, most of what I wrote down is guys that I think are going to be undervalued. So no, I don't think Cam Ward is really going to be like a top 4 or 5 quarterback this year. But I think he's going to be way undervalued, like come draft time. The Titans, they had Will Levis for the last couple of years, absolute garbage. So really, they've got a couple of weapons. They have Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett now, and just having somebody who's decent, I think he's going to put up some decent numbers. Again, I don't know. He's probably not going to be a top quarterback, but whenever I was making my list, I went and just looked to see like what ESPN has them right now. This is like April rankings, and they had him as the 25th ranked quarterback, and I think he'll be a lot better than.
Yeah, he seems like he should probably outperform top 25.
That's a fair boom. I will say this: I have no doubt that Cam Ward will be good in the NFL. It's not going to be this year, and he's my bust quarterback. I just don't see it this year. I don't know. It's going to have that rookie. I don't think he's going to have that rookie Jaden Daniels season. I just don't see it. I think he's got all the talent in the world, but I think he's going to have growing pains that first season. Just a guess. Who knows? Brian, what about you, man? Boom quarterback.
well, I'm taking CJ Stroud. He had the down year last year, but it wasn't all that bad. You know, he still had like 3,700 yards passing and like 20 touchdowns, but it was like he didn't take that sophomore leap that you were kind of hoping for. And I think that's gonna, now that, you know, I mean, all his receivers were hurt. I mean, everybody was hurting that offense last year, and at various times with Nico Collins, Nico Williams. I'm going Premier League over. Nico Collins, and you know, he'll be back healthy. They just drafted both the rookies out of Iowa State. Was it Iowa State or Washington? I can't remember what it was, but they grabbed both those kids, and they're great. And so yeah, he's my kind of boom back from, because they have him. I'm looking at most rankings, and he's in like the mid to late teens on most stuff. So I think he'll finish top 5 to 10. I mean, it's hard to crack the top 5 unless you're a severe running quarterback with.
Yeah, no,
pushes all day long over there, Tom.
No, I had to say CJ Stroud. I didn't try to rank by any particular order, but if I was going to give a boom to anybody at number 1, it would be him, mainly because in his rookie campaign, like he, you know, connected with like, you know, nobody, basically rookies, Tank Dowell and Nico Collins, and really made, you know, name for himself. And then sophomore slump last year. I think he has a huge bounce back year. I'm going to be eyeballing him all day long, gentlemen. So, you know, let's pay attention. We have to do some drafting.
Yeah, you're like,
there's something
hey.
new. Tom eyeballing a guy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh man, I don't know. Quarterback wise, I know Bob, you went Geno Smith and kind of dove into the Las Vegas route, and we, you know, went down the Cam Ward, the rookie, and then CJ Stroud. But any other quarterbacks though that were booms for anybody? Because I'm looking at my list and I have one more boom quarterback that I listed. How about you guys? Anyone else that rings a bell? I know Chris
Daniel Jones.
Who?
I'm kidding.
He said Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. Well, I mean, come on. Somebody's got to do something there, right? It's either him or Anthony Richardson, right? What, like,
He ought to play.
Know.
He ought to play.
Yeah.
I mean, how far down the list is Daniel Jones on the on your report? I've got him outside the top 32, behind Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because I don't have him in any list of boom or bust, but I am curious that if Anthony Richardson ends up being the starter there, which I don't think he will, you know, I do think that he'll have a solid year. I don't think he'll have a stellar year, but I think that whole situation's a mess between DJ and Anthony Richardson, to be honest. I don't know where that's going to go.
I think by the end, all kidding aside, I think by the end of the year, Daniel Jones has better stats than Anthony Richardson.
That's a fair point.
What about Cam Ward?
Cam Ward, I think, is going to have better stats than the two of them combined.
I hope so.
So
I almost wrote down some Colts receivers, but because of the quarterback situation, I didn't write anybody down. They're kind of my honorable mentions because they got Pittman, they got a couple guys.
They got Tyler Ward. They just drafted Tyler Ward. They got nobody. Like, who's going to throw him the ball? Anthony Richardson can't hit fucking shit. Sorry.
No, dude,
curse away.
Go for it, man.
Curse away. The only thing that we don't talk about is politics.
All right.
That's the only thing that'll get you cut, really.
Yeah, we try to stay away from that, but now curse away. We don't. We're all good with that. I had Bo Nix on my booms, and I realized again I kind of get into the whole sophomore slump thing. I've always been big on that, but I don't see that from him. I think they've, you know, have really honestly have a solid team around him, and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I love the way he plays the game. You know, it was exciting to see. He had a pretty good rookie season last year. It wasn't Jaden Daniels like numbers, but I really think he came around, especially toward the middle part of the end of the season. I mean, Broncos made the playoffs, right? I mean,
yeah,
and he was a big part of that. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what his year 2 looks like because I think he's going to post some big numbers. I don't know that he's top 5, but I think for where he's at, I think he has potential to be a top 10 quarterback.
Well, he was on your team, right? Didn't you have Bo Nix?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, for the while there, he was my most serviceable quarterback.
Yeah, they needed to win. They needed to win that game. It was Bo Nixon passing it to who the hell are you? Who's that?
Devon Valet.
The triple freaking, like, the ball bounced off of 4 guys. Don Valet. He's playing both of them against me in our toilet bowl. He beats me on that play because I had 45. I had 46 out of Jahmyr Gibbs on Monday night. I'm like, can you get a couple more? Come on, put it back in.
Yeah, I went off a BS play. I love it. That's how I do things, man.
Oh man, and my quarterbacks were Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels, and neither one of them even played. Like, Jaden Daniels played 5 minutes. And we don't allow any like free agent pickups for the toilet bowl teams.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So, well, in Brian's league, I made the playoffs and then probably got booted the first round. But then I made the other end of the playoffs, which is, the really bad teams. But if you win that, I got free entry back into his league. So yeah. I beat him for the toilet bowl.
Yeah, he beat me for the free entry back into the league. So now I've got to pay. Now I've got to pay my free entry. That really matters. I just want to pay everybody at the end.
All right. So quarterbacks. Does anyone else have any quarterbacks that they want to talk about boom potential?
Well, I've got one more honorable mention. He wasn't in my list because, again, I kind of made like a top 10, but then I had some honorable mentions. I wrote down Justin Fields because he really played well when he was with the Steelers. Obviously, the Bears, that was not so good. But last year when he was playing for the Steelers, he did all right. And he kind of had the support of the team. If I remember right, it was kind of a back and forth, like, should it be Russell Wilson or should it be Justin Fields? And then who else are they going to play? What do the Jets have going on? They have a decent receiving core, right? But I think he's going to get some run. And speaking of, he can run the ball a little bit too. So I can see him putting up some stats.
Yeah, I'm going to second the Justin Fields. That's somebody I think is going to really turn their career around.
Yeah, I like that. It's funny. I have nothing for the Jets, but I'm so glad that the ayahuasca mushroom guy, whatever, I'm so glad he's out of there. So maybe we can finally, see somebody younger and a little more talented. As far as not talented by a quarterback, but maybe because of an age thing at this point in the NFL. I think Rodgers was damaged goods coming into New York. Him finally getting the boot after really not a great tenure there. Fresh blood, basically, I think that's kind of what it's going to be like in New York. All right, anyone else for boom quarterbacks? Anyone else?
Only other one that I saw on there was Trevor Lawrence, but that was my other guy that could boom because he's got a new coach, new system, new weapon of choice with the number 2 pick in the draft, along with Brian Thomas and bunch of running backs, and I imagine they're going to have to like throw the ball a lot, just cause. So that be it for. I mean, he's ranked 20th, so. As long as he stays healthy, and that guy takes a beating, just keep him upright, give him a couple, give. And I think didn't they draft? No, they didn't. They traded up for everybody, but just keep him upright. Otherwise, it's who's the other guy down there? That should be the boom.
The other quarterback.
Who was it? Mac Jones? No, Mac Jones is in San Francisco now. He's not he's not down there anymore.
Is he really?
That's what it says. That's what my list is. Nick Mullins.
Mullins. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I put Trevor Lawrence down as my bust, one of my big busts, because I think he's had his chances and he hasn't proven it. I think this is it. I think I don't know his contract situation, but if I was Jacksonville, I'd be looking to move off of him if he doesn't have a boom year this year. And I don't know. I don't believe in him.
Yeah, that's certainly fair. I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I love the weapons they've surrounded him with now. Yeah, I think Chris, I think you're right. I don't know.
But I'm not going to root for Nick Mullins, but
why not? You heard it here first, guys. Nick Mullins is the number 1 quarterback to draft in your league.
Nick Mullins is the top draft in the 2 QB league. I'll probably have him in my 24 player keeper league.
What position, Bob? What do you want to do next? Running back, wide receiver?
Yeah, let's just shoot running back.
All right.
Yeah,
Man.
I'm gonna stay in Vegas, and not surprising anyone, but Ashton Genty. The Raiders are going to be heavily featured in my drafts, I think, this year, just based on the Chip Kelly factor. Yeah, he's a terrible GM, and he flamed out as a head coach in San Francisco, but I think as an offensive coordinator, there's not many minds can change the game as much as he can. And I really am excited to see as much as obviously I'm an Eagles fan. That's who I want to see do the best. But I'm kind of excited to see what the Raiders do. And as much as I hate Chip Kelly, I still can't knock him for his knowledge of the game.
Yeah, no, I love that. I know Genty, especially, Boise State, which I'm a big fan of. I don't know how his numbers end up translating, but I think he's primed for a big year.
I love the Raiders running backs this year. Not only Genty, I think Raheem Mostert is going to have a big year, because I could see it being where Genty gets a lot of the bulk of the carries, but Mostert comes in like goal line situations. I could see him putting up a lot of touchdown numbers. I think they'll probably run the ball a lot. I mean, Geno's good. I know you talked about Geno before. But I think they're going to end up running the ball a lot. So I think both of them, Mostert and Genty, are going to have big years.
Yeah, no, that's certainly not a bad guess. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I'm taking these notes, Chris. Appreciate that. Brian, what about you, man? Running backs, booms
for running backs. Where was it? I like Pacheco this year. I don't know why. Like they didn't like take anybody new or do anything different, and Pacheco's just like he's gonna run into a wall for you until he dies, right? So that's why I like Pacheco. I mean, running backs are so hard to pick because the fragility of the position and all, but like Pacheco's, he's just always like that go guy, and not that I really want to be a Chiefs fan, but I like Pacheco.
Hey, you know what? I think for Bob and I, even though we hate the Chiefs, Pacheco has a special place in our heart because, he went to school like super close to where we grew up. So, he graduated Vineland High. I mean,
or as who was it? The announcer that called it Vineland.
Vineland, yeah, Vineland. Yeah.
Is that what you always have him on your team, Tom?
Maybe. I do like Pacheco. I do think, I know you're right. I agree completely with your comment about running through a wall. He's that kind of player. I just wonder how his health, how he holds up this year. Seemed like he was, a bit of damaged goods last year. So we'll just see. I do like that one though. I went running back wise. I'm just going to throw out a couple that I think Bijan Robinson has a big year. Again, he is the number one pick, Tom. Yeah, well, I think Chuba, Carolina has a big year. I think he's going to build on. He had a great year last year. Kind of at the expense of our old buddy Miles Sanders, but I think Chuba has a great year. But the one I'm really happy and kind of excited to say excited though, is Trey Benson. Over in Arizona. I'm not a big Cardinals guy. I really don't have anything for Kyler Murray, but and reading reports that it's going to be like a two-headed attack with Benson and Connor. I think as the year unfolds, I think Benson's going to overtake and be the number one guy there, and I think he's primed for a big year. I don't know why, gut feeling. I just really really big things in my head for Trey Benson. I don't know. Anyone want to disagree, talk, chat about any of these people that we just talked about?
Well, Trey Benson's more in my sleeper because I mean you gotta still get over James Conner, who other than his first a couple of years, he's always been pretty healthy and runs another one who run through the wall till he dies for you. Right?
Yeah, I'm completely hedging that on James Conner being like unhealthy very early on. Just a thought. I don't want to make ill will on wish ill on the guy, but. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tip my hand a little bit as far as one of my busts. and it pains me to say this, but I think maybe we need to be looking out for sleeper Will Shipley of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Saquon, huh? You don't want Saquon? Is he going to get hurt, or is it just
The Madden
just
curse, man.
the Madden curse?
I've got him written down too. I do.
I'm so worried between how much mileage he put on his treads last year and that damn Madden curse that took out Christian McCaffrey last year. I'm as much as I think it's cool to have him on the cover, I'm so worried about it.
Yeah, it's not been a good thing over the years.
Was it McCaffrey last year?
Yeah, it was McCaffrey last year.
Yeah, I've got McCaffrey as a bust. I think he's done.
Oh, I like McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey's going to be he's still got some stuff to prove. They still got some stuff to prove in San Fran. I like McCaffrey.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I can't wait to draft with you this year. It's going to be very, very interesting.
I mean, they're both about the same. Like, is McCaffrey's a year older than Saquon, right? Or a year younger, one of the two. They're both right in the same age. So, well, I mean, they haven't hit the 30 wall yet. They're getting close, though.
Yeah, which is absolutely wild. But it's an NFL running back, though. There's a short lifespan there. That's so.
I think as long as, of course, if Bucky's like the boom guy, like that guy could have the year, right? That guy should be the.
Oh, Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, he was taking over that backfield and last year, and even with them draft, who they draft, who was the rookie, the Ohio State guy, Aguka, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't prep that much. I should have.
Well, no, that was the guy they drafted. So they've got like a ton of receivers. So you basically have to cut. Like you can't keep an extra safety down for Bucky to get all that free space. You still got Baker Mayfield dishing out the ball. So I mean, I like the Bucs offense, and that would be. I think Bucky gets the lion's share. Like there's no more Rashad White. He's just kind of a guy. He's kind of just showing up there. If Bucky, he's helped. He might be the Sonic to Knuckles for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, but I think he's pretty much just kind of like I'm hoping I get another contract next time around.
Yeah, good point. Chris, what say you?
Oh, I like the Bucky pick. I had him as like an honorable mention for mine too. I think he kind of took that spot over halfway through last year. I've got kind of a combo deal written down, like I talked about with the Raiders, or I kind of piggybacked on Bob talking about the Raiders. But the Chargers, I like their running back situation because they have a rookie they took in the first round who, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about Omarion Hampton, but he was a first round running back. They've got him, and then they picked up Najee Harris this offseason from former Steeler. And I think the two of them, Jim Harbaugh offense, they're going to run the ball quite a bit. And even if they've got a two-headed monster, I think between the two of them, they're the numbers are going to be big.
Yeah, no, I like that. I've never been a big Najee fan, only because I guess he's always been a two-headed monster. He was with that way with Jalen Warren. From a fantasy perspective, he was always a potential to be a boom or a bust each week. That's what I always saw about Najee. But no, I do like the fact that he's out of Pittsburgh. He's not a terrible running back. And you're right, flooded up with a rookie. Who knows, man? Could both be primed for pretty good seasons. The Chargers have a good track record of kind of floating out decent running backs over the years. So, regardless of who's at top, there's always been somebody there that's been worthy of fantasy attention, it seems like. I mean,
J.K. Dobbins, right?
Yeah, well, I draft him number one right now.
Yeah, right. Sure. I think is he on a team? Is he? No. I think the Chargers put some kind of like restricted tender on him. So if nobody drafts him, then they can sign him to a contract or something. If nobody gives him an offer, they can sign him to an offer sheet. So.
Well, we'll start another fantasy league and we'll see if he wants to play.
Hey, can you come out? Can you come out for us? No, Najee. But I like Najee. I always like Najee, but he's kind of like the anti-Alvin Kamara. He gets like over 1,000 yards rushing every year, but disappoints you when you're like needing it in your fantasy team.
Exactly.
Like when you need a
Exactly.
big game out of Najee, he gets you like 8. You're like, thanks, man.
That was the one trade I made in your league when I first started. I traded for him, which was crazy, and it ended up working out for me. I never really win anything, but yeah, no, he's always been an interesting one. Bob to Saquon bust. I need to tell you that I have him as a boom, as I think it's no more Madden curse. I
All
think
right,
we're gonna
good.
have a big second year with him. You know,
I hope you're right.
no, I know
really
I'm
hope
right.
you're right because it pained me to say that, but
I mean, I'm trying to decide to keep him at like expense of my team in my auction league. I've got to pay. Like it's like 1/5 of my budget would have to go to Saquon Barkley.
How many players?
24.
Holy crap! That's a big chunk.
$83 of a $400 budget. So it's pretty much. I don't know the exact numbers. I haven't calculated to that point. Let's see what it is here.
I told you, Brian's legit, man. He that's why I wanted him to join.
20%, 20.7. So it's actually more of a percentage.
Yeah, he showed me some of the spreadsheets and stuff he keeps. It's pretty wild. It's definitely why I wanted his expertise on.
How many teams are in this league with 24 players?
It's a 12-team league, so
Okay.
there's
it's a 36
there's
team
like
league.
there's like 7 or 8 good teams, and then there's like 4 bad teams. So there's like it's not super terrible, but to get your guys that you want. So I usually cash money. So I play. I don't cash money in the league I run. Tom shows up, he's taking all my money.
Nah, not really. I'm basically like evening out.
Well, you're
every
playing
time.
for free this year, so you don't got to actually cover here. You don't got to pay the league.
That's a fair point. Running back wise, I know we did kind of go bust. I talked McCaffrey being a bust. Does anyone else have any running backs that are you guys are seeing as busts?
McCaffrey.
I wrote McCaffrey and Barkley and throwing in another old guy, Derrick Henry, man. I think it's the same. I think it's the same Saquon thing. You get so many carries and they're getting up there. They're those 3 guys, Saquon, McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. Well, Henry's the oldest out of all 3 of them. I think he's 31 this year. I think at some point it's gotta fall apart. Right?
Dude, you got to ride that. You got to ride the King Henry train till the wheels fall off. I think he's got at least a couple more years. Same with McCaffrey. Saquon did have a lot of mileage last year. So did Henry, but he's always had a lot of mileage. So that's nothing new for him. He's just like, get on the train. I'll go run up some more hills again. He does that all day long.
Henry reminds me of Jerome Bettis. I don't know. It just has that like. I think he'll go for like another, but
with at 21, where he travels at 21 miles an hour. The guy is blazing fast for 250 pounds or whatever he is.
I do think there's a fall off though with him. I do agree there. I don't know that he busts completely, but I think there's a fall off.
I love the guy. I'm a Titans fan, unfortunately. So I love the guy, but I just think eventually the wheels are going to fall off. And I don't know if this is it, but I wrote him down on my bust category.
Well, Tom, just so you know, I'm really planning on going after Clinton Portis this year.
Nice. I love Clinton Portis. He was great.
So he's going to be my boom for this year. So you should totally try and snake him from me.
Clinton Portis. Okay.
Hurricane, baby. Now mine is Breece Hall. That's my bust for the year.
Yeah, it's funny. I like Breece. I think last year was overhyped. How he was hyped as being like numero uno coming into 24. He really was. I mean, there was a lot of pre-draft fantasy things that I remember him seeing. He was top 3, and obviously it didn't flush out that way. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a bust as well.
I mean, like you got your running quarterback Fields who's going to definitely snake some touchdowns from him. You got who's the other running back? What's that? I forget his name. Or drawing a blank right now on after having several cocktails at the neighbor's pool. Braylon Allen, there he is. I like Braylon.
Blair
Braylon
Thomas.
Allen's in the sleeper category because he's ranked 52nd as a running back on this thing. So he's definitely higher on the list than that. Because I'm other than that 1 year for Breece Hall, he just hasn't really given you much.
All right, we did quarterbacks with running backs. I guess it would make sense to go wide receiver, right? Because I'll be honest with you. Actually, before we go wide receiver,
Do we want to hit quarterback bust since we're
yeah, let's do quarterback.
Oh,
bust.
we didn't do quarterback bust. I thought we were like,
Yeah, we kind of skirted around it. Let's do quarterback bust, and then we'll do wide receiver because I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of conversation about tight ends and kickers. Might have a little in there, but
TEs,
what?
some tight ends.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're having a whole lot of conversation about tight ends. Although I have Justin Tucker to draft number 1, so anyway.
as
But yeah,
kicker?
no, I was just gonna draft number 1 overall.
Deshaun Watson's on the comeback on that one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna draft both of them. Make sure they're in the same team.
Coming back are definitely in the same
You're getting a
conversation
two-
as
Like a
Deshaun
2-for-1 special.
Deshaun, Justin Tucker, and Bill Cosby are gonna be on my team. So,
what about Diddy?
yep, Diddy's on my team. Yep,
For sure.
yep.
He's your
Yep.
he's your water boy.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh, no, he's going. I got him down for slotting out wide receiver. He's fine. Yeah. Quarterback bust. Who we got?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy and his $260 million contract.
Yeah, with the injuries that offense has sustained over the last year, and getting rid of
Debo.
getting rid of Debo.
Yeah, I love Debo too.
The only legitimate weapon that they have that's not hurt coming into the season is George Kittle.
Yeah.
And
That would be
you're not
weird.
going to get
Your
far.
bust running back, Christian McCaffrey.
Is he going to be fully healthy by the start of the season though?
He should be. They declared him a beast.
I know.
I'm trying to decide between him and Saquon.
Saquon. Saquon. And there's not a question there. Saquon.
Yeah.
Well, McCaffrey's $20 cheaper.
It's $20, dude. I mean, come on.
I don't know. I'm burnt by McCaffrey after taking him first last year and then having him tank my entire season.
A lot of people
So-
burnt by him.
Yeah, I looking at him and seeing the just the history of injuries, because it's not just one. I just think that he's going to be a step slow this year. I think that
Juwan.
Juwan
No,
Jennings,
Juwan Jennings,
or the
you know-
the guy that got shot, right?
Ricky
oh
Pearsall.
yeah, Ricky Pearsall. So they've just got a banged up offense, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what the hell do I know? I've only I'm not a GM. I'm not a coach. I'm a douchebag who sits and plays fantasy football. So, I don't know anything at all. But I just, in my opinion, I think that Brock is going to feel the weight of that contract, and I think that he's going to be trying to do too much with too little. And I think that he's going to. I'm not saying he's going to be like a bottom third quarterback, but he's not going to be where he was.
Yeah.
Just like I'm not saying Gino's going to be a top 5. I just think that he's going to be somebody that you're going to get value out of, where you could draft him in a later round and actually get some good value.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair way to put this. Like, I think the way we're putting this in the context is I don't think a lot of these players like, oh yeah, they're going to be number 1 across the board necessarily. They're going to be outperforming themselves or better performing than or underperforming. That's kind of how we're framing this.
Right.
So,
Like John Robinson, Tom, and Saquon.
No, I still think Bijan and Saquon have top-notch years. I do. I really do.
I got Bijan 1 and Saquon 2, and he just dropped below Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, I really do. I still think that. I have nothing for McCaffrey. I think he's done. But I think
I'm putting
Saquon,
McCaffrey on my boom list.
I think Saquon's got another good run in him. Other bust quarterbacks.
I don't think people have much expectations for him anyway, but I think Russell Wilson is done. He might start the year as the starter on the Giants, but I don't think he'll end the year as the starter on the Giants. Either Jameis Winston or their rookie. I think they picked up Jackson Dart, right? Again, I don't know who's really rooting for Russell Wilson, but I think he's done. And then we talked about it for a minute. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he probably will become the Steelers quarterback, but I think he's going to suck.
Sorry, I had a thought. You know how few and infrequent they are. Dak, obviously. Bust.
Yeah, that was obviously on mine. You know, your dad's Dak. I mean, come on. You know, he's going to get
rated like middle of the pack. I mean, him and Jordan Love, you're like, hey, neither one. You don't want either one of them on your team, but you might take them, and they might produce. Like I'm looking at Sam Darnold, and I'm like, no.
I don't know. Dak, especially with all the money that was thrown at him, you know, and then of course how last year went. Dallas. Just laugh.
That's all it is Dallas.
CeeDee Lamb, you know, is a good receiver, good slot receiver. Let's put him where he plays. I don't care if he is number one on their depth chart. He plays in the slot. So he's a good slot receiver. And you got George Pickens, who you don't know what you're going to get out of him because you don't know if he's going to have an Antonio Brown moment. You know, because apparently all the receivers in Pitt that come out of Pittsburgh get CTE immediately. So you don't know if he's going to make it through the whole season without getting suspended or like stealing a car or just walking off the field mid-game. So,
but you got Javonte Williams. He was in my. He was one of my boomer running backs.
All right.
I got to pick a Dallas guy, right?
I will say this though, because I know we haven't gotten to wide receivers yet. I have George Pickens on my list for bust, and it just says LOL.
I do too.
I hate Dallas so much.
Yeah, he is on my bust list as well.
Watch me draft George Pickens at your house, Brian.
Yeah, you're gonna take him. You and Todd. Todd was like, that fucking George Pickens, he sucks. I'm like, oh, so he's gonna wind up on your fantasy team in our draft then.
Yeah, that's definitely
because nobody's gonna take him. I mean, what's Pickens ranked at this point? I mean, it's probably like 34. That's actually pretty high.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros. He's at a 30. Yeah, that's
34.
No, I don't know. It's
the guy right next to him, though, Jamison Williams. I definitely give him the boom pick. He's in a contract year. That guy's had some serious off-field issues. He needs to get a one and done for a big ass contract from somebody.
Tell you what, he's part of the right offense. That's for sure.
He was my number one boom wide receiver because I expect big things from Williams also.
Yeah, I like James. I like Jameson last year. I mean, I thought he was good. The problem was there's a lot of mouths to feed, you know, there, and that was the issue with him.
He still had a bunch of touchdowns though. He was helping you out big time with like all of a sudden you're like, hey, 2 touchdowns out of Jamison Williams, bam, bam, you know.
That was the problem with him though. He's very boom or bust each week because he's the kind of guy that can run up 3 catches for 100 yards and 2 of them be scores, and then the next week show up with nothing. Like that's the issue I always had with him was that he could perform great for a week, but like the way I've always played, and I'm sure this isn't like a big, you know, thing. I look for consistency. So I like consistent players. I hope to God he does boom because I love him. I think he's a great receiver. I don't know. Bob, what about you, man?
Receivers, well, based on, and I'm doing this and I'm going to sound like a homer, but I promise you there's a reason. Based on the fact that I think that Saquon is not going to have a great year, I think you're going to see Jalen have to step up the air game. And I think A.J. Brown is going to have the best year of his career.
I like it. I mean,
if he's not been reading books on the sideline or what?
Oh, that keeps him focused. Keeps him zen.
Focused. He had like 4 catches in the playoffs, though.
They were running over people.
He's still got a ring.
Running that score up. They were running the score up. They didn't have to throw it.
Actually, one of my number one boom receivers is Devonta. So,
Dave Smith.
I really do think that the Eagles, obviously, being an Eagles fan, it's hard to beat the Super Bowl champs, right? I mean, come on. Devontae Smith is going to have a hell of a year, and I think AJ Brown has a hell of a year too. And here's the other thing too. I don't know how much you're going to see out of Dallas Goedert this year, mainly because I think it was like they're going to have to let him go, the restructure contract. I think the receivers really step it up.
But like, what are they going to do? Just phase him out of the offense because he's on a.
I'm going to say going to phase him out. I just don't think that he's going to live up to them bringing him back. Bob and I talked about this, why they didn't draft a tight end, because we both thought that they really needed to. Yeah, we both thought that they really needed to, and I don't know. I just think the receivers are going to show up more than tight ends this year. Honestly, I do.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one.
Oh, go for it, man. Let's do it.
No. Let's go through everybody's receivers first.
Okay, fair enough. No, it's fine. That's why I love doing this. All right, who else we got for receiver booms? Who else we got?
Well,
I like
have.
Contrary to the running back situation you were talking about earlier, I like Ladd McConkey. I think that dude's just money receiver. Anytime you need a first down or a big play, that guy's getting it for you.
Yeah, +1 to that.
Yep, I agree with that too.
I think he set like some historic numbers, like him and Neighbors, as far as like rookie receiving numbers last year. He had a big year.
And why'd you have to go and mention my bust?
Who, Ladd McConkey or Neighbors? Malik
is, and it's not through any fault of his own. He's still going to be the number one receiver on that team, but
dealing with a rotation at QB. Yeah, it's a rotation. If you get if Jameis is throwing the ball, give me Malik Neighbors all day long. All day long. That guy just hucks the ball. Like you might get the, like you said, it's gonna be like kind of that boomer, but I mean he made Jerry Jeudy a fucking stud.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
that guy is what was Steve Smith jagging it? He called him a jag, right? He's just another guy, right?
Yeah, no kidding. No, Malik. I don't know. I wanted to slot him in as a boomer or a bust, and I couldn't because I just don't know where he's going to fall. Mainly because that revolving door quarterbacks. He's getting like Bob, best receiver on the team. But what is that really going to show? Chris, what about you, man?
Well, Jamison Williams, we talked about. He was my number one receiver. The other Devontae Adams, I think he's going to have a big bounce back year with the Rams. I think that's kind of to be expected, though. He's still ranked pretty high. I wrote down Khalil Shakir, Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I mean, he should be their number one wide receiver. He's going into year 4. He just got a contract. But like from year 2 to year 3, he like almost doubled his receptions. I think the Bills are going to be good. I think their run game is strong, which should open it up to air it out a little bit. I think he'll have a big year.
They didn't really add anybody there too. They just have Keon and like
Keon Coleman.
They got the rookie too. Bond. So who they drafted?
Up Palmer from used to be with the Chargers.
Josh.
Yeah,
Palmer.
well, he's not really he's not a threat to anybody's.
Bills drafted Isaiah Bond too, didn't they? Am I wrong on
that? Sure.
I'm gonna say you're right.
I think
Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, I think Bond has a good rookie season up there. I really do because Bills need weapons receiver wise. Shakir's like number one right now. I don't know, after the Stephon Diggs years and those guys kind of rotated out. You're looking at younger talent in there now, and what Shakir and Coleman, right? I mean, so I think Bond has a big year. I really do for them. I'm probably completely wrong, and the guy probably is going to be serving peanuts at the end of the year. I don't know, but
I mean. Was he that Texas? Texas, is that where he's from?
Yeah. I think he's a Texas guy. Yeah, I had McConkey again. I +1 that. The only other one that I haven't talked about, and I guess we slot him in as a receiver. Who knows how many different positions he's going to play? Travis Hunter. I don't know, man. I love the guy's talent. I just love it. He's, you don't get too many two-way players out of college at all. Now, where he ends up playing, I don't know, because I don't think it's been discussed that he's going to do anything more than playing receiver, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know that he plays both sides of the ball ever.
I know he wants to. He says he wants to. I don't know.
He says he wants to, but I don't think they'll let him. I love the guy's talent. I mean, he was the real talent out of Colorado, not Shador. I mean, it was all that's the Travis Hunter show right there. He's one of the few special guys. I really do think that he's got something there. Just has that reminiscent, Deion Sanders, Bo Jackson type stuff going on, I guess, because of like the multifaceted, athleticism. But I think he's going to have a big year. I'm excited to kind of see what he does.
Brian Thomas on the other side, he's going to take a lot of the attention away from him too.
Yeah,
Just Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball. Don't like that. but
yeah,
That's why
exactly.
he's my boom. That's why he's my boom guy.
No, but it makes perfect sense though. It really does. There's two solid stud weapons right there for you, and man, I don't know. Other boom receivers before we get into the bust, and then we'll finish off on tight ends, kickers, and whatever.
season 2 of the Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry connection is going to be ridiculous. And I know I'm not exactly going for like the hottest of takes here, but I think that is going to be, no pun intended, a scary connection. And I think if anybody's going to knock the Eagles off their perch in the NFC East, it's going to be Washington.
Yeah, and they've added Debo this year. They're going to be nasty. I think Jane Daniels takes a step back, but I don't think the rest of that offense is just ridiculous. So yeah, that's the one team that scares me in the East of anyone else. I kind of laugh at the Giants and the Cowboys at this point. The Giants probably have more upside than the Cowboys. I don't know, but yeah, no, the Commanders are a scary proposition. Any other receivers?
I want to get the temperature on this one. The always fun Tyreek Hill. Is it he's done? Send him off into the sunset, or was it just a down year because of the bad wrist injury?
I think if he can keep his head in the game and worry about football instead of everything else, and stay healthy
instead of his 14 kids.
Yeah, let's keep it in your pants, bud. And
I don't think he thinks about the 14 kids. It's just
oh yeah, he doesn't think about the kids. It's just where he's going to get his 15th.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I have Tyreek on my bust list, but part of that is Tua, because I don't believe in Tua. But if there is a trade situation, I think he'd be all right. But I think if he stays in Miami, I don't see it.
So you're telling me Tyreek's going to end up in Dallas? No, I'm just kidding.
He could. That'd be about perfect for him.
Dallas or Pittsburgh?
yeah, send him to Pittsburgh.
His former team, though. I want to shout out.
Go back to Kansas City.
Yeah, well, no. I want to shout out somebody on his former team. I think Rashee Rice. I think he's going to have a big year because they've got Xavier Worthy, but I don't think he's quite ready. He's kind of just a deep threat. And then they've got Hollywood Brown. And Rice 2 years ago was huge, and then he was just hurt most of last year. So I think he's going to come back and have a big year because, Mahomes is going to put up some stats, and Kelsey's old. And if we talk about tight ends eventually, I wouldn't mind talking about the Chiefs for a sec on that. But I think Rice for the Chiefs is going to have a big year.
Yeah, no, I do like Rice, and I like Worthy too.
I'm actually I'm on the Worthy train on that one over Rice, just because I like Worthy. I thought that kid was getting it all put together at the end of last season.
I'm just looking real quick, talking about receivers. Only other one that I have mentioned, I think we've already talked about him to a degree, was Ayuk. And I know Ayuk is kind of low-hanging fruit because he starts I think he misses the first 4 to 6 weeks. He's still recovering from injury. But I don't think he comes back nearly the way he was. Man, if anyone, he's the kind of person that I would stay far, far away from drafting just from the sheer fact of not only one, he misses a lot the first part of the season, but yeah,
Well, he ripped up a couple of ligaments, right? It wasn't even just
yeah. I think he's just not going to be the same. And I was reading a couple of reports about him earlier too. Like even when he did play before he got hurt, like he obviously was not how he was previously. Like he was just not the same caliber of player. So I think he's almost to the point where it's like poor guy might not ever be the same, which sucks because I thought he was like guy.
He's still pretty young. I think he'll be able to come back because they're doing miracles on those ACL injuries, but it's going to take him at least till next year before he's even
oh yeah. I just don't think I don't think he's going to be the same. And then what sucks is by the time he's going to have that ability, he'll be 2-3 years older than he is now. And I don't know. I just don't see him good for next season at all. But that was pretty much the end of my receivers. What about you guys? Any other booms bust receiver wise before we button it up with tight ends? Because I know we all want to get the kickers. I know it's where we're at, but
yeah, we got the kickers. No, I'd actually like Jawan Jennings on the booms. Here's another one that I wanted to get some more hot takes on. Stephon Diggs.
Ooh.
What is that going to be in New England? I mean, they have him ranked 41st. So there's no receivers in England. They have a new young quarterback, and then you got Stephon Diggs handing out pink cocaine, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, you got him and now the only other receiver that I know that I can name on that team is Mac Hollins.
Is Mac Hollins on that team?
Yeah, Mac Hollins. He wanted to complete the AFC East. So
do the whole thing. He's like, I gotta show up in all the locker rooms without shoes on.
Yeah,
giving everybody.
Dude, Diggs. I feel like again he's one like Hill, where if he can get his head in the game and actually concentrate on what's important, he actually could be a good. He could be a good receiver. He could be top 15 receiver, maybe top 10, depending, because he's your number one target. Other than that, I mean, like I said, other than Mac Hollins, who are they throwing to?
Other than Mac Hollins.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Hunter Henry, right? He could be the boomer. Yeah. He could be your boomer. We can move into.
Do they still have Bourne? Kendrick Bourne?
I think so. They still have what was it? Pop Douglas, right? I don't remember his
Demario
Douglas.
Yeah, Demario Douglas, yeah.
And
I failed basically in Brian's league last year. I failed to draft pretty much any receiver worth of much of darn, and when I did, they all got hurt. So Demario Douglas started for me like half the season.
Well, you had like 4 tight ends. We were all like, Tom, will you trade? No, I'm not trading any of my tight ends. You had what, Kelsey, Kittle, and Njoku or something like. We're like, somebody want to trade Tom a tight end?
That's
no.
If anybody needs to know Tom's draft strategy, it's tight end, tight end, tight end, tight end. That's it.
Hey, that's won leagues for me before. I've done it. I didn't win Brian's league with it. I've won Chris's league with it a couple times doing the tight end strategy. It's here's my whole reasoning for that is because it's a premium position, and if you can lock it up from anyone else, you're just locking it away.
Subtraction. I was starting. Who the hell was this? Cole Kmet. Who had 2 games. He had like 50 points out of 2 games, and then the rest of the season he had less than 50 points.
All right, other receivers, booms, bust. Who we got? Anybody?
Mac Hollins.
Boom, 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 boom.
I wrote down a lot of busts. I had Stephon Diggs as a bust. I'll just quickly, George Pickens, we talked about. I have him as a bust because I think he's going to try to do too much in Dallas and probably it blow up and not even play every game. I got Cooper Kupp written down. He's going to be in Seattle now, and I think he's fallen off a cliff here the last couple years. I wrote down the entire Vikings offense. I just think they're gonna fall off a cliff. Also,
JJ's not going to run it all up with JJ.
I mean, as much as I love Justin Jefferson and even Jordan Addison, I think Jordan Addison's really underrated
they're both
most of the
great players.
time. I don't see them doing it with JJ. And I really don't know. I don't have any intel on JJ McCarthy, but I just can't see him, repeating what they've done the last few years anyway with Cousins and then Darnold last year. And I wrote down DK Metcalf because right now, who's throwing him in the ball in Pittsburgh? And even if it's Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it's going to go well. So I think there's a bunch of guys that have been, top receivers over the years that I'm expecting to have down years.
Who is it? Mason Rudolph? Is that who their starting quarterback is right now? Is that who?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't think Mason Rudolph?
Hey man,
You
Mr.
don't think Mason Rudolph will do it?
No, he's my number one pick. Just write that down. No, Chris, I agree on the Cooper Kupp thing. I think he's more than done.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp was
cooked.
He might have a flash in the pan here or there, but no.
Yeah, he's cooked. Yeah, receiver wise, I don't know of anyone else to discuss. Anyone before we wrap that part up, and we'll tight end real quick. All right, Bob, tight ends. You got anybody? Boom or bust?
Boom. Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert. I like it.
All right, I need to hear this.
I think contract year. He's feeling it like he doesn't want to leave the Eagles. He wants to stay with the Eagles. So I think he's going to be playing his tail off to try and show to them, look, man, this is what you're going to be losing. Now the big what it hinges on is him staying healthy. Obviously that's the great equalizer in the NFL is the health of the players. And if he can stay healthy for a full season, which we've never seen before, then he could have a hell of a year. But, it seems like he's always on those breakout lists like, oh, the next big thing at tight end, Dallas Goedert, and he's never made it. Not to say he's not good when he's in and healthy, especially during the playoffs, but he's never put it together for full season. I think this is the year that he puts it together for full season. Fool me for the fifth time. Prove me right this time, Dallas. Wow. Wait, that felt weird.
Oh, I'm gonna soundbite that.
Tom, I swear to God.
Soundbite.
I will screw your doors and windows shut and set your house on fire.
I love you. I don't know. I hope you're right. I don't really know. I don't have as much faith as you do right now in him.
My other one, and I'm going to have to go back to my Las Vegas. Brock Bowers is going to take it to another level this year.
Brock Bowers is going to have 200 catches and
he's going to have
touchdowns.
800 catches
from Geno Smith.
800 catches.
Even Ashton Jeanke's going to be throwing him the ball.
Yep. Everybody's Chip Kelly's going to be throwing him the ball.
Brock Bowers is open. Get him the ball.
That's how that offense is going to run this year. Ashton Jeanke and Brock Bowers.
No, I love Brock Bowers. Yeah, I love it. I think you're right. I think he's going to be, he's just ridiculous. He's your new NFL, tight end one. I mean, truth be told, at this point, I mean, he's ridiculous. Brian, what you got? Anybody on tight end? Boom, bust?
I like Zach Ertz. I mean,
really?
he's old as fuck, but I mean, he just does the job. Gets it done for you, and Daniels seems to use him as a safety valve. So, I mean, it's like the young quarterbacks always like their tight ends to bail them out. So as long as like we were talking about, obviously health always plays a factor in any of that stuff. But if he stays healthy, it's him. Or my other guy would be Hunter Henry from that side of things, because he had another really good year last year with May, and I think we didn't really decide whether or not Stephon Diggs was anybody we really wanted on our team. So if you're going to take a receiver in a receiving player in that offense, you're probably going to want Hunter Henry as your, as a guy that's going to get a bunch of targets, and hopefully he's like I said, he's another one that's doesn't ever make it through the full season without sitting a couple of games. Although looking back, he's been pretty healthy, just whether or not he does something.
Chris, what about you, man? Tight ends?
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. I've got this kind of a combo with the Chiefs. I think Kelsey is going to start to fall off more, and I think Noah Gray is going to start to get more targets. Just looking at last year's stats, like Gray ended up with 5 touchdowns, Kelsey ended up with 3. Kelsey still had a lot of catches, but not nearly the yards that he did. We all know, he's getting older. Noah Gray's just getting into his prime. The whole Taylor Swift, Travis is going to be, he's going to be visible. He's going to be out there. He's going to play, but he already attracts attention from defenders too. So I think that's going to start to become more of a passing of the torch this year from Kelsey to Noah Gray.
Yeah, no, Kelsey was a bust for me. He was actually the only tight end I mentioned. Isn't that funny, guys? See, I draft all the tight ends, and I didn't mention anyone else other than him. No, yeah, he's a bust this year. He's this is it for him. I think it's fair to say that he'll be. Chris, I completely agree. I think he's going to be visible, and he'll get his play time, but he's not going to be number one. And you've got Noah Gray is really starting to come into his own there. In fact, I dare to say that he may have a Pro Bowl type year. I know the Pro Bowl doesn't really mean much in the NFL comparative to baseball's All-Star game or whatever, but I do think he's going to put up some good numbers. No, I don't really have much this year. I need to do my homework on tight ends because I don't know.
Likely's also gonna have a similar situation of that. I think they're gonna Andrews is probably gone at the end of this year either way, and they really want to get Likely, more involved. And dude's a beast, so why wouldn't you want to just throw jump balls to Isaiah Likely? And maybe he'll catch him in the playoffs instead of dropping him like Andrews did.
and that leads me into my first bust is Mark Andrews. I think that's going to weigh on him. That drop is going to weigh on him, and I think that Lamar's lost some faith in him, honestly. And I think his skills are fading too. So it's a perfect storm of shit for him. And I think he's going to fall off. And then the low-hanging fruit one that I'm going to pull is Kyle Pitts down in Atlanta.
That nobody will draft.
Yeah.
We've all drafted him at one point, and you're like, fuck, he sucks.
Yeah, there was so much promise for that guy.
Well, I think he's honest. Honestly, I think he's on his way out of Atlanta. I think he's going to get traded before the season starts. So we could revisit it once that happens. I think they're looking to part ways with him.
What about any other tight ends? Boom was bust. Anybody have anybody? Are we?
So he's pumping us for information on tight ends because he's trying to make his list
He's like,
right now.
whoa, who's my guy? Who am I going to get? I'm not saying anymore.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Gesicki in Cincinnati because they don't have any. Gesicki's always a solid guy, and he's been there. He's been in that system for a couple of years now, and if it's not, and since nobody likes Tua, I won't say Jonnu Smith, but he's another one that is.
It's funny. Obviously we didn't say Burrow and some of these other guys, obviously, because they're going to throw up big numbers. I don't think there's a boom or a bust conversation to be had with some of these guys. But yeah, you talk about a system that's going to pump out points for you fantasy wise. Cincinnati, and there's a lot of players there that potentially win you a league. So
fingers crossed on Chase Brown. He's my keeper at $11.
Well, there you go. That's better than 83.
Every time I'm like, all right, Chase Brown's got his points. Get him to the side. Bring in somebody to replace him.
I highly doubt this, but did anyone have any kickers or defenses?
Busts. I've got Dallas's defense.
Dallas's D.
And the Giants defense. And the Browns defense. Let's go low-hanging fruit. Let's do it. No, I'm honestly, defense and kicker to me are always the ones where like you really don't know until you're a couple weeks into the season, and at that point, you know,
Yeah,
you got your defense and your kicker, or you got screwed and picked somebody you thought was going to be good, and they're god awful.
Yeah, it's they're interchangeable. It seems like it's like every other week someone's picking up, dropping. You know, hey, who's going to net me a couple more points? And it's like, oh, you know what? I've got Jacksonville negative 4 points this week. Awesome. Yeah, that's just part of the deal. Anyone else have anything to say? Because I need to leave the last word. It's a football pod. I need to leave the last word to Bob on this. Bob,
I'll just say thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been
fun.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are welcome back anytime, and fuck Dallas.